everyone, this is Miss Michaela, and in this video I will be recapping what we did in class on Wednesday, November 4th. So first, some announcements. We have student support from 2 to 4, Mondays through Thursdays. I am there on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Mr. Chris will be there on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We also have office hours twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock, and those are now on Zoom, not Google Meet. So if you go into your stream, there should be a post from Mr. Chris of when the office hours are and what the Zoom link is. So come to office hours if you have any questions about grades or homework at all. Okay, and then we just did an assignment check-in where we looked at the assignments that we have for Persepolis and what people needed help on. The quarter ends November 12th, and so I highly encourage you to get those missing assignments turned in before that date. So then we talked about propaganda. So what is propaganda? The definition that I have here says that propaganda is the expression of opinions or actions carried out by individuals or groups to influence the opinions or actions of other individuals or groups through psychological manipulation. That's a big, long definition that basically just means one group of people has a strong opinion and they want another group of people to believe the same thing. So they try and influence their opinions by manipulating them so that they all believe the same thing. So an example of this is advertising. So if you're watching commercials, these commercials are a form of propaganda. So I have a Gatorade commercial here that we're going to watch.
You want to know the secret to victory? Fail to make the varsity team.
Start your career as a walk-on.
Go 3-13 your rookie season.
Lead the league in interceptions.
Take a perfect team and blow a perfect season.
Spend 108 years as a lovable loser.
Be on the wrong side of the biggest upset in your sport.
You really want to know the secret to victory?
And heartbreak for Matt Ryan, who is in utter disbelief.
Defeat. Come on, one more.
Yeah!
Okay, so there's a little bit more left of this commercial, but we're going to move on to ask these questions. So what is the commercial selling? Well, the commercial was selling you Gatorade, and even though they never mentioned Gatorade in that whole commercial, you still knew that it was an ad for Gatorade, partly because I told you, but they do have at the very end the Gatorade logo to let you know that it is an ad for Gatorade. So how was this commercial manipulating you? How was this propaganda? Well, they were using all of these famous all-stars, these famous sports players who are some of the best players in their sport. It showed them drinking Gatorade, and it showed them succeeding in what they did. And that is propaganda because they're using your emotions, the things that you love, like famous all-stars, to make you want to drink Gatorade as well. Something else that I want to point out is that this commercial was not only selling you Gatorade, it was also selling you an idea. All of these people were talking about how they became successful by learning from their defeats, from their failures. So this commercial is telling you that if you work really hard and you learn from your failures, that you too can be successful. So in the propaganda, they were selling you the product Gatorade and the idea that you can learn from your defeats. In Persepolis, we see lots of examples of propaganda, and these are going to keep coming up again and again. But a few that we have seen so far, this one, when this man decides to close down all the bilingual schools, he says they are symbols of capitalism, of decadence, and all of these people are cheering. So how this is propaganda is he is manipulating these people by playing on their fear or their hatred of the West and capitalism. So he knows that they hate capitalism and the West, so he associates the bilingual schools with this to make them hate bilingual schools too. So he's using their hatred, using their fear to make them agree with him, and that is propaganda. Another time that we see propaganda is when Margie is telling her parents that she loves the king because he was chosen by God. So the reason that she thinks he was chosen by God is that her teacher told her, and it's also written on the first page of her school book. So the Shah is using propaganda here. The propaganda is the teacher telling her that he was chosen by God and the school book. So if he tells everyone, well, I was chosen by God, then he is using their religious backgrounds to manipulate them into thinking that he deserves to be on the throne, when in fact he probably does not deserve to be there. So what he does is he uses their emotions, he uses their religious beliefs to manipulate them into thinking that he deserves to be there. So we have the big election that's been happening, and anytime there is an election, there is loads and loads of propaganda that pops up. So I have two commercials here, one from Joe Biden and one from President Trump, that is examples of propaganda that we have seen in the last year before the election. So let's watch this.
This election will decide whether we save the American dream. We must never allow mob rule.
17-year-old being held on suspicion of first-degree intentional homicide.
Free rein to violent anarchists and criminals.
The El Paso shooting was the deadliest attack at the hands of a white supremacist in the U.S. in 50 years.
We must always have law and order.
Tear gas was used to remove peaceful protesters from Lafayette Park.
A St. Louis couple brandishing firearms against...
Okay, so this commercial, what they're trying to sell you is they're trying to tell you that Donald Trump is bad for this country. That's what they're selling you, because if they convince you that Trump is bad, then you will vote for Biden. And how are they manipulating you? The big thing that they are doing in this commercial is they are trying to scare the viewers. They're showing these clips of people being violent and running through the streets, and then they'll show Donald Trump saying that everything is perfect and fine, and then they'll prove, like, it is not. We have no law and order in something like this, or in something like this couple here holding these firearms. So this commercial is manipulating you by scaring you into voting for Joe Biden because it wants you to... It's trying to prove to you that Donald Trump is dangerous so that you'll vote for Joe Biden. Now, this commercial is Donald Trump's commercial that's against Joe Biden. So we'll watch a little bit of this one too.
He went, he became president. I didn't go, and I'm still vice president.
And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we are.
Think about it. Everybody has known from day one how smart, how bright Hillary is. Everybody knows how tough she is.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
So what this commercial is selling you is they're selling you on Donald Trump by showing you that Joe Biden is not competent. They're playing these videos of him and saying, see, he can't remember how to form a sentence, is basically what this commercial is trying to tell you. So how is it manipulating you? Well, they're taking these clips completely out of context and showing them to you to try and convince you that Joe Biden will never work as the president. And that's manipulation because it's not the whole truth. They're taking little snippets of these big videos, and he probably only mumbled on his words for a little bit of this video, but that's what they picked out. So, is propaganda always a bad thing? No, it isn't. It can be used for good things too, but a lot of what we'll be studying in this is how propaganda is used to manipulate people into a certain political party or belief, which isn't always a good thing. So, when Margie's parents listened to her reacting to this propaganda in this clip here, her dad sits her down and says, God didn't choose the king. That's just what they're telling you. And then he tells her what actually happened and how the Shah actually came into power. So he has done his research. He wasn't instantly manipulated into believing what he was told. So when you watch this ad for Biden or when you watch this ad for Trump, don't believe everything that they're showing you. Make sure to do your research and to go to other websites and news articles to try and get all of the facts. Propaganda is going to always be around, but just make sure to do your research and make sure that you aren't going to be easily manipulated by it.